is missing
life. That's what everybody misses when you're at school.
So basically, if you jump from over there, and I could stand over here and just try to focus the momentum while you are still in the air, that will be the thing.
So yeah, I don't have any original sort of global philosophies of education. I think that this option can work for a lot of kids and a lot more kids than people realize, and it ought to exist, and it's kind of a scandal that it isn't one of the main menu options in our country. And I think there's a lot of pressure from the system to keep it off the menu because the way our system works is public schools get money for every kid that stays in public school. And so kids have dollar signs attached to them. And when you bring money into the equation, it perverts everything.
The testing and curriculum in the United States, that industry is like a $16 billion industry. And if you compare that to other industries, because I have a hard time wrapping my head around that, the Hollywood is something like 13 billion. The National Football League, the NFL, is something like 9 billion. So like testing and curriculum is $16 billion. So there's a lot of money that is putting pressure on the conventional education system to continue to perpetuate testing and curriculum and get more of that in conventional schools. And so they're going to create studies and all kinds of evidence to support their argument that they need more curriculum and more testing. And so they're not actually going to research like natural learning and self-directed education because it doesn't support more testing and curriculum.
Right.
So I think that that's an important thing to think about, how money is involved in supporting the conventional system.
One thing I do feel pretty strongly, and it seems pretty obvious to me at this point, is that there's been this paradoxical push in the federal government to make sure, as if that's something you could do, to make sure that everyone achieves a certain standard of education. And the only way to do that, they think, is to institute completely uniform regulations, guidelines about how kids ought to be taught and evaluated. And that extreme fetishization of standardization seems completely counterproductive to me.
Ką manai apie švietimą?
Deschooling is kind of like the process of it's uninstitutionalizing ourselves. Mm-hmm. So it's taking like the concepts that society have kind of like pushed us to think is like normal or the right way, and to stop and think, well, this is what society is doing, this is what everyone else is doing, but what's right for me? And it's sort of like unwinding that and figuring out that, oh, maybe society actually isn't right. Maybe there is a better path. And then like doing research and doing like checking in with yourself and what does your intuition tell you is right, and discovering that there's actually a better way out there. And it can start to kind of unravel a lot of things. You can start to deschool from the education system. You can start to deschool from like how nutrition works, and you can deschool from like from medical science to politics to whatever. The list goes on. How we pollute the world, economics. All of it is just getting outside of like what is society telling us is the right thing, and thinking and doing our own research and finding out what feels right for us.
Right.
So, and then self-directed education is just more like the philosophy around like being free and making those decisions and learning naturally in an organic way in our own time and space.